Keys to victory. Victory? Well, there's at least some keys for the 49ers, some pitfalls, and paths to victory in Week 17 against the stalwart Detroit Lions. Maybe revenge on the mind of the Detroit Lions players. Are the 49ers up for the challenge in Week 17? Roster moves as well. Coming at you right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you as always at BD Peacock at Crocky209. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We love and appreciate all of our everydayers out there. Happy holidays to all of you. Welcome to the new listeners as well. Hit that subscribe button so you can hang with us as we cover your San Francisco 49ers daily throughout the rest of the regular season into the off season. No playoff season for the San Francisco 49ers this year, but some big topics that we will no doubt be covering all the way through the off season. And of course, the NFL draft, which we've got you covered every single way that you can. So subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to this podcast. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. All right, we got tons of news and some roster moves and an old.
We do have some news. We do have some news. I can't let you skip over this news.
Okay.
On Christmas Day, I watched the game in the evening. It was kind of a nightcap, and it kind of overshadowed some of the football games. But there was a game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Can you remind me again who won that game?
I would not be able to tell you because I watched 0 seconds of that basketball game. And as we know, and to the ire apparently of LeBron James after the game, the results are in, and the NFL is the new king of Christmas. And I don't think NBA players like it. Like, it is not even close how many more people watch the NFL games than the basketball games, yours truly included.
The crazy thing is the basketball games were actually good. But it doesn't matter. Like, you're watching a 2-34 blowout win by the Baltimore Ravens over some good basketball games. That just goes to show you, like, it doesn't matter if there's football on. That's what everyone is watching. Luckily for the Warriors and Lakers, or unfortunately for Warrior fans, there was no football on when the Lakers and Warriors played. So everybody was able to tune into that game and watch the old Lake Show pull out a game-winning shot at the buzzer. Shout out to Austin Reeves out of Arkansas. Let's go.
Yeah, we don't need that propaganda on this channel, Croc. I was busy putting together Legos with my son at that point. When the only thing that the Texans could do was score 2 points, it was like, all right, it's Lego building time. We'll keep one eye on the game, and we don't need to have any NBA games on. We don't need to have any more sports on. Let's focus on building ourselves a Ninja Turtle bus, right? Like, that's the important thing for me at that point on Christmas. And I hope everyone had a fantastic holiday, and I hope the audio and the video is looking good here. I will be playing a lot of road games. And, just like a real quick, importance of the holidays. And I hope everyone, was able to see some loved ones and at least call some people. And it's always so important. I don't know if I've publicly mentioned this on the podcast. I know Croc knows, but my dad's going through battling cancer right now. And so I'm going to be playing a lot of road games recently and have been the last week or so, and I will continue to probably to start the new year a little bit, be going back and forth a lot. So if you notice the audio sounds a little different, or I'm in different rooms every single episode recording some of this stuff, that's what I'm doing right now. And it, this Christmas especially hit me, Croc, and so important, the family, being around loved ones. Make sure you reach out to the people that you love and cherish throughout your life, even if you haven't contacted with them very recently, because that stuff's important. And so that's sort of been on my mind this holiday season. We do have some news, though, Croc. Some San Francisco 49ers related news. None of these stinky LA teams at this point in Week 17. Niners shutting some players down here. And it has been confirmed by Kyle Shanahan now that Dre Greenlaw will not play the final 2 games of the season. And it is looking like the end for Trent Williams and his backup, Jalen Moore, both going now on injured reserve. So their seasons are over as well. The 49ers made numerous moves, bringing Sebastian Gutierrez to the practice squad. They have also signed veteran offensive lineman tackle Charlie Heck and guard/center Matt Hennessy. Matt Hennessy, if we remember a few years back, I thought he was a fantastic fit. He was on my very, very short list of potential future San Francisco 49ers in the draft. I thought he would have been an amazing fit, ended up getting drafted by the Falcons. Things didn't go great for him with the Falcons, but add some depth now to the interior for the 49ers. Potential center, has starting experience as well, center and guard in the NFL. So those are the roster moves and two obviously very important players for the 49ers now getting shut down for the rest of the season in Trent Williams and Dre Greenlaw. Another note about Fred Warner, and this is from Fred Warner himself, Croc. He was asked about, his body and how things have gone this season. And he says he does plan to finish the season. He said, quote, "I think there's an integrity to the game. There's an integrity to your team that if you're able and willing, that you need to be out there with that 49er red on you, out there on that field, regardless of the situation." So Fred Warner is not shutting it down. If he can be out there, he is going to be out there. He's a leader. And I love the mindset there. And I think this is an important stretch the last two games for the 49ers, not necessarily to be putting, W's. I don't think the final scoreboard is that important, but it kind of ties into one of my first keys in this game. And if you noticed, I didn't title this episode Croc Keys to Victory because, the victory part of it, maybe not that important. I think right now for the 49ers, obviously it's evaluation time for a lot of players, but it's keys to not getting destroyed, basically, not getting embarrassed on national TV on Monday Night Football, Croc. Because after talking with Matt Derry on the crossover this week, this is a Detroit. So let's go back a year. Do you remember when the 49ers wanted revenge against the Philadelphia Eagles for what happened in the NFC Championship game? And do you remember how that game went? And that was a team that was up to the challenge in the Philadelphia Eagles that were healthy, that were ready to go. There was a lot of chirping back and forth. There hasn't been chirping this week with the Lions or anything like that. But the Lions are that motivated. The Lions are what the 49ers were before that game last year, right? And they could potentially be walking into a buzzsaw if they are not motivated and they don't meet that challenge on the football field. It's not that important. If the Lions go and win, the Lions are a better football team. They have been this year, even though they've been really banged up and have a lot of guys on IR. But you don't want to go out there and just get manhandled on national TV, right? So whoever's in there, whoever the backups to the backups are, whoever's healthy, whoever's playing on the field for the 49ers, you're putting stuff on tape. So continue to put good stuff on tape. And if the 49ers lose on Monday night, I think a lot of fans will be okay with that. I think a lot of fans are looking at the draft order, Croc, but don't get embarrassed. Don't get just absolutely steamrolled by the Detroit Lions, who are going to be motivated and are out for blood and might want a little revenge for what happened in the NFC Championship game when they weren't able to finish off the Niners last January.
After the 49ers lost to the Miami Dolphins, I said, that was the perfect game for the situation the 49ers are in. Prior to the game, you find out that the 49ers are eliminated from the playoffs. So now from here on out, it's not really about the wins. Obviously, the competitor and myself and you and the players, the fan base, we want to see a winning product on the field, but kind of protect this draft spot a little bit right now. And the players aren't thinking about that. Those guys are thinking about their culture and what it is. They can give a damn about a 21-year-old kid coming in next year and like, that kid's supposed to help us, and they hope that they do, but they're not going to sacrifice wins for that. I love hearing what Fred Warner had to say. This is a guy that is the ultimate competitor, and I love everything that he stands for, the way he plays, the way he prepares. We talked about him being a guy that, had a fracture in his ankle, and he's still out there giving 100%. I don't think he missed a game since having that injury. He had to leave at halftime of one game, but I mean, this is a guy that continues to go out there and give his all. And I think for anyone that wants to be a 49er or anyone that's on this team right now, maybe they haven't, I don't want to say bought into what the 49ers are. I think you can look at Fred Warner and he exemplifies everything that you want all guys to be. There's always that guy. You know, I coach high school football. I've told kids, man, I wish I had 22 of this one kid, right? Just because he's always 100% going to give effort. You know, he's always trying to get to the ball wherever it is, make a play however he can. The instincts are off the charts. And I think that's Fred Warner dealing with injury, dealing with he missed this guy. And, you know, supposed to be his brother linebacker. He's getting kicked off the field because he's refusing to go in. His other brother, Dre Greenlaw, he continues to battle through these injuries, and now he can't play. Now you got the young guy, but everybody can look to Fred Warner, not just the backer group, but the entire defense and the offense. And Kyle could say, hey, I know this season has not gone the way that we wanted, but look at 54 and look how he's going about business. And I think that's what these last couple games should be about more than anything.
Phenomenal example for Fred Warner to set and what it means to be a San Francisco 49er. And that's why he's got a C on his chest.
But hopefully he can help them not get their butts kicked in this game. So I forgot to talk about the actual game and, you know, kind of how you preface this whole thing. The Detroit Lions are not going to care that the 49ers are walking into this game or limping into this game, licking their wounds right now and guys out, and they're missing this guy and missing that guy. They do not care. They want to kick the 49ers butt regardless. And they're going to look at it and they're going to see the Brock Purdy, and they're probably telling themselves, which I know would have been the conversation if it was my team, they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. We dropped the ball on fourth downs, right? Like quarterback throws the ball, we drop it. That happened multiple times. We fumbled the ball on the first play of a possession, setting up a short field. We dropped an interception that ended up hitting the guy in the face mask. Like, that would be my conversation to them. Ball hits the face mask and Ayuk makes this great play. We're supposed to make the play, and they made the play. So I would be looking at that and saying, we're better than that team. We were up. We should have closed it out, and we didn't handle business. But you know what? I don't care what they're going through right now. We're going to handle our business here. And so the 49ers, like you said, they better go into this game saying, you know what, this is a team that's going to try to embarrass us. We can't let that happen. You cannot let that happen. Monday Night Football at your house, you have to play with a sense of pride and dignity. And if you follow Fred Warner's lead, I think everybody will.
Next, how do they avoid that buzzsaw that could be coming with the Detroit Lions to town on Monday night? Evaluation time and keys to victory for the San Francisco 49ers. Next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. And when you buy somebody tickets to an event, it's also, don't forget, a present for yourself as well. It's like, hey, I got us tickets to go see the ball game. Let's go. So you get yourself a gift at the same time you give somebody else that gift as well. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And we're talking about fantastic last-minute deals as well. You might even be able, because of where the 49ers are right now this season, you might be able to get some phenomenal last-minute deals to even see the San Francisco 49ers, which is usually a very hot ticket. All-in pricing, toggle on that feature to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You see the panoramic view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. You know you're getting phenomenal seats. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. So, the 49ers might be walking into a buzzsaw on Monday Night Football with a motivated Detroit Lions. They're trying to win the 1 seed in the NFC. Their closest competitor, not only those Eagles that are 1 game behind, but they got the same record as a team in the division in the Minnesota Vikings. So they got to stay ahead of those guys, and they're trying to get the 1 seed and get a bye week. And the 49ers right now are the next team on the schedule. So, as it pertains to the San Francisco 49ers versus the Detroit Lions, what are you looking for out there? Maybe not even a key to victory, but a key to what you want to see out there, Croc, a player that you want to evaluate a little bit more. We've already talked about the 49ers showing some fight. What else do you want to see out there on Monday Night Football from the 49ers?
I want to see the 49ers be able to get a run game going. That's kind of been up and down throughout this season. The offensive line, not getting as much push as you ideally would like, and it didn't change when Christian McCaffrey was in there. We didn't see him run the ball necessarily well, and I think a lot of that starts up front. So, I get it. You got Patrick Taylor out there running the rock. That's not who you ideally would want running out of the backfield, but can you open up some run lanes for him? This is a guy that has run very hard. Can you open up some run lanes for Deebo Samuel? I thought Deebo Samuel, that was probably the best version of him running the ball that we've seen in a while between the tackles and between the guards. So can the offensive line, can you move some bodies? And we talked about a mindset, a physicality, a culture. Going back to the Jim Harbaugh days, the 49ers were into moving bodies. They went and got, two offensive linemen in the first round, Anthony Davis, Mike Capati, right? Like, all right, we're going to come in here. We're going to be big, nasty, move bodies around. And this 49ers team, they haven't so much moved bodies, but hey, let's get in the way. Let's create these run lanes for our backs. That's what this regime has done a really good job of. And this year, it just has not been there outside of Jordan Mason running extremely hard. And I think some of it was people were just afraid to go heads with this guy. So that in itself was creating some run lanes. But Patrick Taylor, I want to see the 49ers open some stuff up for him so he can get going, because you get him going, then now you're able to do some things through the air off of your run game. And I think it makes things a little easier for Brock Purdy to get going as well. So I think the first thing has to be the 49ers offensive line. You got to move bodies and you got to create these run lanes for the running backs.
Yeah, man. And it's going to be even more difficult because, as I mentioned, on IR, Trent Williams, on IR, his backup, Jalen Moore, and then Spencer Burford didn't practice on Thursday either. He's got a calf injury. So Charlie Heck, who they just signed, might have to just waltz onto the field for the 49ers and play on Monday Night Football at left tackle, potentially. Aaron Banks also not practicing at left guard with the knee injury. So, I mean, that's going to be even more difficult for the 49ers up front with some of the injuries they have. They might have to lean on the right side of their offensive line there just to take a quick peek at the limited those. So they did not practice. Robert Beal, also ankle injury, did not practice for the 49ers. Limited in practice on Thursday. Safety Jair Brown, running back Isaac Garendo has the foot in the hamstring. He was limited. So as for a Monday night game, Thursday practice, there's still some opportunities for some of these guys that were limited and even the not participating in practice to get in some sessions and still be able to play. Defensive lineman Leonard Floyd has a shoulder. He was limited in practice. And then right tackle Colton McKivitz, I guess, has a knee injury now as well. So the 49ers might only have 2/5 of their offensive line potentially. McKivitz will probably play, though, at right tackle. He was limited, and we'll see how things go there the rest of the week. So that's the injury report for the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, and one more addition to the injury report, Croc. Tatum Bethune, the rookie 7th-round linebacker, was on IR, and the 49ers today announced that they have opened the practice window for Tatum Bethune, so he could be back in the next couple of weeks here and make one more appearance to end his rookie season. And really, to be honest with you, Tatum Bethune did a nice job just to make the squad with how many linebackers the team had coming in, some recent draft picks and some free agents. And I've liked a lot of what I've seen from Tatum Bethune. I think he's a guy that might stick for the 49ers as a depth piece at linebacker. So he could potentially see the field at some point the last 2 weeks of the season as his practice window has opened. One more note from Kyle Shanahan as well. And this isn't so much a key to this game necessarily. I think it is a key, though. I mean, I think everything for everybody, confidence, putting good things on tape going into next year is pretty important. And I think it's pretty important for this guy because Kyle Shanahan gave a little bit of a vote of confidence for his kicker, Jake Moody. And I know a lot of 49ers fans want Jake Moody gone. The former 3rd-round pick last year. He's had a pretty rough year, too. He's missed a lot of kicks. Not a lot of confidence from 49ers fans about his kicker, but apparently Kyle Shanahan still has some confidence, or at least publicly saying that he has confidence. And he says, quote, "I believe we've got the right guy," when talking about Jake Moody. So if Jake Moody has the opportunity to make some kicks, it'll be pretty important for him to probably build some confidence going into the next year. And I think a lot of what we see the next couple of weeks is going to be more about confidence, more about finishing right, and more about putting some stuff on tape, and even for those guys who are upcoming free agents. But I don't think we should expect a kicking change necessarily. Maybe some competition, but I don't think 49ers fans should expect a kicking change from Jake Moody this offseason. And it sounds like Kyle Shanahan is sort of hinted at that. What do you think? Are you trying to make a change at kicker? Because I know a lot of fans, first of all, I mean, and this kind of goes into the Brock conversation as well. if Jake Moody was just whatever, undrafted free agent guy, he was a kicker. Maybe you could, whatever, you cut him, but he draws so much more ire because he was the 3rd round pick. And it just made that challenge a little higher. It made it made the lights a little bit brighter for him and how he was going to be treated by fans and how he was going to, in the end, be evaluated. And for Brock Purdy, when he signs this offseason, if he signs a $55 million deal per year or whatever the contract ends up being, the microscope gets a little bit turned up, right? It's a little bit more fine that you are looking at a player like that when they get paid, when they get drafted high. It's not just a good story anymore. And there's expectations that go along with it. And I think that's part of what Jake Moody's dealing with. And it's part of what we talked about all along, why, drafting a 3rd round kicker makes it difficult, because if you're trying to win a Super Bowl with a rookie kicker and he's a 3rd round pick on top of it, the lights just get so bright, and it probably makes things a lot more difficult for the player.
I think with the kicker position and what he's definitely going through is just he kind of got the yips. And we've talked about that in the past with a golf swing, right? And, for me, I'm swinging this golf club every day. I'm feeling good. And then I don't know what happened, but there was a week where I just could not hit a golf ball it didn't matter what club I pulled out my bag. It just did not matter my swing. It was almost as if I just completely forgot how to swing a golf club. And I think that's what Moody's going through right now, where we've seen him have a couple of games. I mean, he strung together like 2 games where he didn't miss a field goal. He's no, he's good. He's found his rhythm. He's all right. And then he comes back and he misses. And it's like, well, that's what most of this season has been, where, man, we're giving a guy who, makes, 3 kicks over 2 games. And now all of a sudden, like, yeah, this is why we should keep him. No, it hasn't been very good. It's been very inconsistent. He missed some big kicks last year, made a couple big kicks. I mean, Super Bowl made some big kicks, but he's missed enough to where I feel like at the kicker position, there has to be some kind of battle. There just has to be. And if he wins out and he has his confidence back, great. Then maybe you see him just make everything. But, I mean, the 49ers let go of Trey Sermon. He was a 3rd round pick. How long did he last with the 49ers? Ty Davis Price, he was a 3rd round pick. How long did he last with the 49ers? And so, I mean, the competition doesn't start just at the running back position. I think if you're looking at the kicker, who is extremely important for the 49ers. And he has a lot of ability. And he is a very talented kicker. But he's had the yips at times, and he's missing certain kicks. And it might be a mindset thing, but you can't miss those. So I think at the very least, Kyle could be confident and all this, that, and the other, whatever. There has to be some type of competition this offseason for Jake Moody.
By the way, Jake Moody has outlasted both of those 3rd round running backs. So he's got that as far as 3rd rounders go for the San Francisco 49ers in recent history, and outlasted the tight end that was drafted in the same round as him in that 2023 draft. Next, Croc, who are we evaluating keys for the San Francisco 49ers versus the Lions in week 17? This episode of Locked On 49ers presented by Hillsdale College. In time, it's our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Well, our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including history, economics, the great works of literature. Did you study these in school? Maybe. If you did, maybe it's time for a refresher. Yeah, it probably is. And all of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever, you can tune in wherever, and plus you can go deeper with the readings, quizzes, discussions as you'd like, or maybe just enjoy the lectures. So go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. We're talking about 40 free online courses available at Hillsdale College. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register, hillsdale.edu/lockedon. So one of the overarching themes for the last couple of weeks, and I've heard about it on social media a little bit, and some comments on YouTube, Croc, and some folks are like, what are you guys talking about keys to victory for, man? That's stupid. You need to be talking about losses. The Niners need every draft pick they can get. And look, I agree. If the 49ers end up with the 11th pick instead of the 15th pick because they lose the last 2 games, that's okay. That's an okay situation. And the 49ers can't really even get into the top 10 at this point because they're just too far behind some of the other teams as far as draft order goes. And there's maybe a couple teams that they could battle with for the last couple weeks and end up, but they're going to be drafting somewhere between probably 11 or 15, and they're not going to get into the top 10. So I think there's way more to be gained. And look, it doesn't have to be wins, but by playing hard and playing out the string of games. And let's say the 49ers knock off the Lions on Monday Night Football, and there's a huge game from Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing has a long touchdown, right? And Malik Mustafa has an interception, and Renardo Green's shutting guys down on the outside. And it's more important it's more important to have 53 better players, more confident players, developing players in that evaluation the last 2 weeks of the season than it is to draft 15 instead of 11. And so there's still a lot more to be gained as this season plays out, and a lot to be evaluated here. And we're going to get to see a lot of guys because so many other players are banged up. So whether it's D Winters that's in for Dre Greenlaw, or any of the offensive linemen that are getting looks now because of injuries, go out there and put it on tape. And there's a lot more players to be evaluated than maybe losing four spots in the NFL draft. And look, if the 49ers end up drafting 10 or 11, then that's cool too.
I think we said it even coming into this year, right? Like, you're not going to expect a whole lot of production out of the rookies, but then when everybody gets hurt, okay, the guys have to step up, and I think they did a solid job of that. I think going into next year, you're hoping that you don't deal with as many injuries. So it's definitely not about getting, 8, 9, 10 rookies from this class that you think are going to make some kind of impact, but getting the right 3 guys that potentially come in and have some kind of role. And that's how I kind of look at it. It's not about start so much, but like, what is this guy's role? And I think even with high draft picks this year with Ricky Pearsall, I mean, just imagine if there was Brandon Ayuk, like, what would Ricky Pearsall's role be? So most importantly for the 49ers, I think it's whoever you do take, and obviously you want it to be the right guy. What is the role going to be for that guy to really better this team? And, whether that's first round, second round, third round, that's what I'll be looking for more than just lose a bunch of games so the 49ers can have a super high draft pick.
Right. And if the 49ers beat the Lions on Monday Night Football, it's also a reminder to themselves and everybody else, like, hey, guys, that's right. We could still beat anybody. So this isn't you don't need to scrap the entire thing. You don't need to completely rebuild. You don't need to hit the reset button. And I look at players like, obviously, Brock Purdy has millions of dollars to gain potentially. And other players might be fighting for their NFL careers and fighting for the 53rd spot on the roster next year. But, the 2 rookie wide receivers, absolutely, it's evaluation time for those guys. And I really want to see a lot of them on the field. And I want to see them make plays. And I want to see players like I would love to see someone like Drake Nugent at center. Maybe we'll get a chance to see the veteran in Matt Hennessy, who I think was a fantastic fit for the 49ers stylistically coming out of college. It wasn't great with the Falcons. Maybe what does he look like? Could he be somebody that they keep around next year as depth at guard and at center potentially? And so there's a ton of players to evaluate here as the 49ers finish the season. And I do think that there's plenty to watch. But man, I'm really going to be looking at those wide receivers. It's Pearsall and it's Jacob Cowing. Like, I want to see them get opportunity. I want to see him play. How about Deebo Samuel? Like, there's going to have to be big decisions for Deebo Samuel. If he looks like he did last week and is breaking all kinds of tackles and looks like vintage Deebo, then maybe he plants that seed in the 49ers' mind. Like, oh man, this Deebo still has a lot left in the tank. Or maybe it makes other teams sit up and go like, oh man, hey, Deebo still got something. Maybe we can offer something pretty significant to the 49ers and get Deebo on our team this offseason. And that helps, 49ers value in the offseason if they're looking to trade Deebo anyway.
Talked about Fred Warner and his mindset. I think Deebo showed a lot of that too. If the guys out there right now, if the 49ers lose the last 2 games, they would have lost 7 out of their last 8 games to end the season. And I don't think Fred Warner's about that. And clearly watching Deebo Samuel, at least in his last game, it doesn't look like he's about that either. Those are guys that are really fighting to the end. So Deebo Samuel, for all the bad that has been this season and kind of riding this roller coaster of his play, I think him going out there and, contributing, whether it's to a close loss but just him looking like the Deebo Samuel of old, it definitely helps him, whether it's with Kyle Shanahan and him being the person and player that Kyle Shanahan believes he is, or to other teams that'll be on looking and say, you know what, we could have a role for Deebo Samuel in our offense. And if he continues to play like that, he definitely could help us get some victories. And so I think these are some big, last couple games with Deebo. Like, how do you want to be remembered? Because right now, if you ask most fans about how they feel about Deebo Samuel, they don't really have many good things to say about him.
That's a great way to put it. How do you want to be remembered? San Francisco 49ers in 2024. Show us on Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen. Appreciate everybody out there. Happy holidays. Call the people you love around you. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to this podcast. Locked On 49ers, of course, we'll be here with you after the game, post game, probably a little podcast for you at some point Sunday night or Monday before that Monday Night Football game as well next week as we get started and finish week 17 with Niners and the Lions. Appreciate everybody. Talk to you next time right here. Locked On 49ers.